welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. Help me welcome to the family here, a new tiger bark ficus that I've picked up. It's a very strange piece of me that really enjoys keeping very, very small trees just because they're easier to handle. But then there's also another part of me that kind of understands that, you know, to really have something impressive, a good sized trunk is necessary as well. I kind of like it, you know, both ways in a way. But I picked this up from the Bonsai nursery from Weigert's. They had some of these styled. They were priced a little out of my range. I kind of had my eye on them a little bit, but I did. They put a couple of them up, and it was just the last couple that, you know, hadn't sold yet. I think partially there's a little bit of dead wood on the trunk here on the front. Go ahead and show you guys the other side, what it looks like before I start doing anything. But they just hadn't sold, and I'm guessing that, you know, because they had these styled and had the wire already on it, I would like to point out, first off, I have been kind of admiring the level of detail that they put into the wiring here. It is kind of funny going off such a large trunk and then going off to such small branches here, how detailed they got. I mean, personally, had this been mine, if I had something this size to start with, I would have felt like letting it run for a little while and getting a little more size on those branches and doing that. But they really do have some detail in it. Even this little small branch there has some wire on it. I got it, let's say a couple weeks ago, and I saw in a couple spots that the wire was really cutting in. And so today I just decided to take a lot closer of a look, and it really is almost embedded in there. I did want to kind of make sure I let them set. I'd like to go ahead and maybe just kind of use the bones that they've started here for me and develop that. First thing I'll do though is just go ahead and get the wire off and then give it just a light prune. All right, and just awesome. I took the wire off. Really think I learned a little bit just taking it off there. Hopefully I can use that in my skills going forward. A little twist that they've got in this apex and everything. I think I mentioned before that this will be the you know, first tree I've ever gotten that had, you know, has had some style on it from somebody else besides like just any initial pruning or anything. So I am going to try to keep the branches they've set and just trying to follow along their lead here. I would like to let it, you know, really just start gaining, you know, or not gaining, but just keeping the energy it's got going. So I don't even want to cut any of the growing tips off of the wire, you know, of the branches that they had wired. But along those branches, there are some shoots that are either coming straight up off the branch or, you know, going straight down off the branch. And I'm just going to go ahead and knock some of those out. They even had just these little tiny branches here. So I'm going to leave that one. That one's kind of intrusive there right now. But I do think, you know, eventually as the tree grows, it won't be so much that way. Of course, now, after I take out some of this straight up growth. Of course, up there, it's the apex. It does have a pretty good sized chop scar on there. I'm not sure what kind of cut paste that is. I don't usually use it myself. I'm not against it. I just don't use it on something this big. It actually does make sense to me. I really don't have any ficus material that's quite that big in the one spot. I actually do, but I haven't done any chops on anything like that recently. So, plus, I don't have any cut paste on hand to use anyway, but all right, and then there's this one I put together. While I was pretty amazed at the skill of the wiring on that bigger tree there, I still think I've done a fairly decent job with this tree considering what it started with just 4 years ago. Because this side of the tree has no scars, I was considering this to be the front at one point. Still could be. But then over here, this has a very small hollow there, and another one under the wire there. And then this one, there was a sacrifice branch here above where this one sprouted. And then I'm just using this one to try to heal that wound up. That was kind of a bit of a rookie, I'm not going to say a mistake, but I let that go, and then right after I chopped it, it had some growth around it, and I cut it off. I should have left those stuff on top too, so that it could be healing from the top and the bottom, like it is now. And if I would have done that, I think at some point I could have chosen between taking one of them off. I didn't want them in both spots, so I wound up taking one off, like right here. I should have left that one on, but hindsight is 2020. In October, I actually I lightly pruned the branches and put wire on it, and then you can probably obviously tell I really cut back the apex. And of course, because I did chop that down to nothing, that was heading into winter, and that's just barely recovering. And I didn't really do too much down here. I know I left plenty of growing tips and everything, which I'm going to today too. But I left a lot of energy out here, and you can see the energy's all going out this way, and not much up in there. So I'm going to take off this wire. But actually, first I'm going to cut out all the unwanted growth here. One of the things I have found with these trees, it's my least favorite part of the tiger bark, and that is if you do chop it, the new growth is 90% likely to come straight up, and you have to wire it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take off all the growing tips that are either going straight up or straight down, and try to leave some of these out here that are going in the direction that they're heading now, and let the tree rest. You're going to see when I do take the wire off that it is quite wire bound. Alright, so I got the wire off of it. Notice a couple more branches that just kind of, are not really branches, just twigs that need to come out. That one had two, and the one was kind of growing back into itself there. Didn't really need that coming back in there. And the rest of it I'll leave because I don't really need to get any more wire on it right now. You can see the wire was biting in pretty good, so I might as well just go ahead and let it recover, let it grow a bunch. Feel like if I'm going to continue to use that as the front, I need to hold down that quite a bit more. But if I went to this side, I wouldn't. Kind of looks like you don't really need to, although it would still make a lot more sense. But we'll see as time goes by.